Hello, my dear student. So, welcome to this logic building brainstorming session. This is the second session. So, here in this session, we are going to solve some of the problems, and here we will focus mainly on the logics, not on the coding part. Okay, so what you have to do, just try to get the logic, not the code. If you didn't get the code, it's okay, you will get the things in the later section, but you should get the logics, and I will tell you the thought process, how to think. Okay, how to think and then how to code. So as we did in last lecture, here also we are going to solve 4 to 5 problems in different way. Okay, we are going to see different approaches to solve a single problem. Okay, and then we will use the effective way to write the code. And also, in the end of the video, in the description box, I am attaching some of the questions for your homework. Okay, what you have to do is you have to think logic for them by yourself. Okay, and that we will discuss in the next video. 4 to 5 questions I will give you in the homework section, so that we will discuss in the next video. Okay, so what is the first question that we are going to discuss is trailing 0 in a factorial. Suppose if in input n is equal to 5 given to us. So what you need to do is you need to return the output as 1. Now you will say how we got the output as 1. So basically what is 5 factorial? 5 factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. If you are going to solve, you are going to get 120. So the question is that how many zeros are at the end of the 5 factorial. So here how many zeros are there? 1 zero is there. Okay, suppose in the next question, if we want to find the 10 factorial, so what you need to do, you need to multiply the number till 10. So you will get a number. So what is that number? This number is very big. So now what you need to do, you need to see how many zeros are there, and then you need to return it in the output section. Okay, so this is our problem. Now if I ask you how to solve the problem, what you can say is this problem is very simple. What you have to do, first of all, if we have n, with the help of n we can find the factorial that we have seen in the last video. Once we get the factorial value, what we will do, we will start checking the elements from the last. If it is 0, we will increase the count by 1, and we will come to the second last element, then we will check. Okay, this is the one approach. Similarly, if it is 10 factorial, we are going to get such a big number. Now for checking such a big number, you have to start from end and this. Suppose instead of n is equal to 10, if someone gave you n is equal to 52. Now what you, first of all, the finding 52 factorial is a very big task. You are going to get a very long number, might be that number have 20 digits, or I don't know exactly 20 or 25 digits. Then like even computer will say, what are you doing, man, this is a very long number, how can I, means there is a capacity of computer also. You also seen like there is a capacity of calculator. So for a particular integer there is a limit. Okay, computer even can't calculate this, so that this process is going to be failed. Okay, so the logic that we have thought is, first of all we will do this, then we will get the number. This logic will work if the numbers is small, but if you get numbers like this logic is going to be fail. So what you have to do, you have to think the logic differently. Okay, so let us think the logic. So first of all, how 0 is going to come in a number, how 0 is going to come? When we are going to multiply 5 into 2, then we are going to get 0. If you multiply 10 with something, you are going to get 0. But 10 is basically nothing, it's the combination of 5 into 2. Okay, right? It means if we have 5 and 2 in a number, it means if there is 1 5 and 1 2, we are sure that there is 1 0. If there is 1 5 and 1 2 2 2, then there is also 1 0. Okay, let us take the example of 100. 25 into 4, what is this? 100. So here what is that? 25, it is 5 into 5. So how many 5s are there? There are 2 5 are there. So how many zeros are there? There are 2 zeros are there. Okay, so we got to know that how 0 is formed. 0 is formed by the multiplication of 5 into 2. But the number of 5 present in a number equals to number of zeros that are present. Okay, now you will say, let us take the example of this factorial. In this factorial also, how many 5 are there? 1 5 is there. So how many zeros are there? Only 1 zeros are there. Now you will say, let us take this example. So in this example here, 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. So 1 5 is here, and this 10 is also becoming 5 into 2. So 1 5 is here, we have 1 5 is here, so we got 2 zeros. So we got one thing, that if we are able to count the number of 5, then what we will get? We will get the number of zeros. Okay, so our ultimate task is to find number of 5. Okay, one thing is clear. A little bit logic is clear to us now. Now how we are going to calculate the number of 5s? Okay, suppose a number is given 25. Okay, let's say the number is 7 first. Let us take a small example. Okay, 7 factorial is given to us. So it will be 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7. So how many zeros will be there? 1 0 will be there, because 1 5 is there. So how we calculated this? So first of all, what I will do, I will divide the 7 by 5. So I told you, in computer, if we are going to divide the numbers, we are going to get an integer solution. So what we got? We got value as 1. Correct? Instead of 7, if we divide the number into 12, so again 12 factorial will have 1 2 5, then 9 into 10 into 11 into 12. So we got to know that there will be 2 zeros. So let us see. If we divide the number by 5, so what we are going to get? 2. It means we got one thing, that okay, if we divide 7 by 5, we got 1 0 and 1 is our answer. If we divide 12 by 5, we got 2 and actually 2 is our answer. So is it the correct approach, or still you have to think? Okay, let us think for a big number. Let us think for a number as 26 factorial. Okay, now in 26 factorial, what you are going to get? You are going to get numbers like 5, then 10, then 15, then 20, and last number will be 25. All the numbers between are also there. Okay, so if you are going to divide 26 by 5, what you are going to get? You are going to get 5. Now it is saying that there are 5 5s present. Okay, so 1 is there in 5, 1 is there in 10, 1 is 15, 20 and 25. But tell me one thing, in 25, how many 5s are there? 2 5s are there. It means instead of total count is with our formula we got 5, but actually how many 5 are there? 6 5 are there. So we got to know one thing, that this is not the correct way. Still this is a way, but we need to improve this way, right? So what we will do, first of all, we will count the number of 5s. So what we will do, we will find n by 5. Then when we are going to get 2 5s? In the 25. So what we will do, we will divide the number by 25 also. Then the next number which contain more than 2 5 is 125. Okay, so what we will do, we will divide the number by 125, and we will do this process until we get the value of the term as 0. Okay, now let us see whether it is correct or not our approach. Let us see 26 factorial. So 26 divided by 5, then 26 by 25, then 26 by 125, and so on. Here we are going to get value 5, here we are going to get value 1, but if you are going to divide 26 by 125, you are going to get 0, because our computer will give the integer solution. It will not give like 0 point something something, it will give the integer. Okay, so here we got the 0, so we will find the count as 6. So if you are going to find number of zeros in 26 factorial, you are going to get 6. Okay, so we got the logic. What is the logic? First of all, we will divide the number by 5, then by 25, then by 125, and then we will store the result, and then we will add up the result. So this is our logic. I hope you got the logic. Now let us see the code that I have written. So initially result is 0. Okay, y is initially 5. So what I have done, I have taken one variable x and x will be n by y. So what is the value of n here? If n value is 26, so first of all what we need to do, n by 5. So here we will get 5. So what we will do, we will store in the result. So initially result value is 0. So 0 plus 5 will be 5. So result will be updated to 5 now. Okay, what we have done, we have multiplied 5 y by 5. So y was initially 5, 5 into 5, 25. Now we will see the condition, if x is greater than 0. Yes, x is greater than 0 only. What is the value of x? X value is now 5 because we have divided that term, right? So let us see. Okay, x is 5 now. Now what we will do, we will divide the number again. Perfect. So number is now 5. Sorry, x is 5. Now x value will be n. N is 26. By 25 we are going to get 1. Okay. So initially x value was 5. 5 plus 1 will be 6. So we stored in 6. Now again what we have done, we have done multiply y by 5. So y value will be updated. It was 25. Now it will become 125. So again divide x is, what is the value of x? X value is 1 now. So 125 divided by n value is what? N value is 26 divided by 125. We are going to get 0. And if you are going to add 0 in the result, will it affect our result? No, our result was 6 and it will be same. Again y is multiplied by some number, but now as x has become 0, so we are not going to enter in this while loop. As we are not going to enter in the while loop, it means we will come out of the while loop, and once we come out of the while loop, what I have done, I have written this result. And what was the result? Result was 6 and we got our solution. Perfect. So this is the logic to find the countering trail sort the number of zeros. Okay. Now if I ask you, if suppose n is 251, this is a big number. So first of all we will divide by 5, we will get 50. Okay. Then again 251 by 25, we will get some number 10. Then again 251 by 125, we will get some 1. So we will add them and we will get, okay, here we will get 2. Then we will get 0. So finally we will get 62. Correct? So now see, number is getting reduced by, like what is, how many times we have done this operation? 1 time, 2 time, 3 time. Only 3 times we have done for such a big number. Okay. So the number is like decreasing every time by 5. Okay. So 50 by 5 is, number is decreasing every time by 5 because here it was 5. Then we have division by 25. So number is decreasing by 5. And we have seen this, that if number is drastically decreasing with some of, if we are dividing by some numbers, so it is taking the log of n time. Okay. What time it is taking? Log of n, where base is 5, but we generally do not consider the base. So this is the time complexity of this function. But earlier, if you use this method, so what you have to do, you have to go to each number till n and then you have to multiply it. So it was taking order of n, and even the number was very big, so we are going to fail in that case. We are not going to get the solution also. So this is the one of the question that we have discussed till now. Now let us move to the next question. Let us move to the second question. Second question is finding the greatest common divisor, GCD or HCF, highest common factor. Okay. Suppose a number is given 12 and other number is given 15. So you want to find the greatest common divisor. So what is the greatest common divisor concept? Means the number which is divisible by both. Greatest number which is divisible by both. So we know that what is the greatest number that is divisible by 4? For this the output should be 3. Correct? Because 3 is divisible by 12 also and 3 is divisible by the 15 also. No bigger number is divisible by these two. So what is the approach that you can use? Here what you can do is, first of all you will say find which number is bigger. Okay. Suppose you got that if B is greater than A. So what we will do, we will divide that number and check. Is 15 divisible by 0? Sorry, if 15 percentage 2. It means when we divide the number 15 by 12, Are we getting remainder 0? If we are getting the remainder 0, it means that is the answer. Correct? So first of all, what we will do, we will divide the number by 15. Are we getting 0? No. Then what we will do, we will divide the number by this 11 and we will check is it the number. Then what we will do, we will divide the number by what we will do, we will divide the number by 10 and we will check later on what is the number that is divisible by both. Okay, so when what will happen when you got that when you divide the number by 5, you will get it as 0. Okay, so if the number is divisible by 5, then what you have to do, you need to check whether it is divisible by whether the 12 is also divisible by 5 or not. If you get the 0, it means yes, it is the greatest common factor. If no, you will continue the process. Then you will check for 4, then you will check for 3. Suppose if you check for 3, 15 percentile 3 means when dividing 15 by 3, are you getting 0 as the remainder? So if yes, then check for the 12 also. If 12 percentile 3 equal to 0, if yes, then what we have to do? If we are getting 0 in both the cases, then we have to return the true and we have to return the value that yes, 3 is the number which is the HCF of the given problem. So this is one of the approach. But for this approach, what you have to do, you have to start from 12, then you have to come 11. So what is the worst case? Worst case is that both numbers are not divisible. Okay, so both numbers are not divisible. So what is the worst case? You have to go to all the numbers. Okay, so what will be the time complexity? Minimum of both A and B. It means you started with 12, then come to 11 and like this. Plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3 doesn't matter. The main thing that matter is the complexity will be linear, order of A and B. If the number which is smaller. So it is the one of the approach that we have discussed is this, that first of all check from the number which is smaller, then reduce the number by 1. If it is divisible, check for the other number also. Okay, this is the one of the approach. Now if the interviewer say you like, I want to do this, try to solve this problem in a quick way. Okay, so you should do less number of iteration. Okay, don't do that you have to check for each and every element and then you are getting to some answer. Try to optimize the solution. Okay, generally this question has been asked in the interview that yes, this is the correct approach, now please optimize this. Okay, so let us optimize. So here we have to think like what is the different way to find a solution. Okay, so what we will do here is we will use one logic. So here I am writing a code. Till A and B are not equal, what we will do, we will try to reduce the number. Whichever number is greater, what we will do, we will try to reduce that number and we used to subtract that number by the other number. And when this while loop ends, what we will do, we will return the number. Okay, now what is this logic? I will tell you the logic. Suppose here we have A is equal to 12 and B is equal to 15. Okay, now it will check the condition whether A and B are equal or not. No, they are not equal. So we will enter in the while loop. Okay, means this condition is true. We have written the condition that A and B are not equal. Yes, A and B are not equal. It means this condition is true. Then we will enter in the while loop. So we will check if A is greater than B. No. So we will turn into else condition. So B is B minus A. So B will become now 3 because we have subtracted by 3. It will again come and check whether A and B are equal. So A value is 12 but B value is updated to 3 now. They are not equal. It will come in the above condition is true. It will enter in the while loop. It will check 12 is greater than 3. Yes. So we will reduce A this time. 12 minus 3. So what we are going to get 9. So A value is updated now. What is A value? A value is 9 now and B value is 3. Again they are not equal. We will come to the while loop and see this condition is again true. 9 is greater than 3. So subtract. So A will be 9 minus 3. So we are going to get 6. So here we got the 6. Again it will come and see whether A and B are equal. No, they are not equal. So what we will do? We will again come and check 6 minus 3. What we are going to get? 3. Now A value is 3. B value is 3. Now when we will come, it is saying that while A is not equal to B. But Is 3 is not equal to 3? No, this condition is false. 3 is equal to 3. So the given condition is not working. So what we will do, we will come out of this while loop. And when what we have done, we have written the A. So what is A? A is 3. And we know that if you want to find GCD of 12 and 15, greatest common divisor, 3 is the greatest common divisor. That we have seen above also. Here also we got the answer 3. Now also we got the answer 3. So this was the optimized approach. So see what we have done. First of all, we have reduced the value of B, and 2 times we have reduced the value of A. Okay. So here also time complexity is decreased, right? This is the optimized approach. Now if the interviewer say, okay, tell me one more approach, tell me different approach. So what you are going to do? This time I'm going to tell you the approach. See, basically these approaches are not going to click on your mind. The approach that will click on your mind might be this one. Sorry, this one. That we will check for the number which is smaller, then we will reduce the number by 1, and then we will run. So this approach may be automatically click on your mind, but if you have never seen this approach, it is not going to enter in your mind. So this is the truth. Don't get upset that how this approach will come to my mind. If you have not seen this approach, I am damn sure, means our brain doesn't design to think in this way, right? If you have seen this approach, it will be helpful to you solve the problem. So that's why I am telling you all kinds of approach, maximum kind of approach that are possible. So once your brain start working, then you can think of the approaches. Okay. So what we will do, we will write the third approach. So function name is GCD, which will take the two variables A and B. So if B becomes 0, then we are going to return A. Otherwise, what we are going to do, we are going to call the GCD function again by passing B and A percentage B. Okay, let us see again the same example, 12 and 15. What is value of A? A value is 12 and B value is 15, right? So it will check if B is equal to 0. No, B is 15. So it will come to the return statement. Okay, it will come to this outside the if condition. It will say GCD B percentile A. So GCD, what is the value of B? B is 15. A percentile B means if you divide 12 by 15, what is the remainder that you are going to get? So if you are going to divide 12 by 15, so this number is not going to be divisible. You are going to get everything as the remainder. So it will be converted like this. Again, it will come to the condition. Is B equals to 0? No, B is 12 now. Again, it will come to the GCD. It will say B come here and it will be A percentile B. Means if you are going to divide 15 by 12, what is the remainder that you are going to get? 3. So we are going to get 3 here. Again, it will check whether B is equal to 0. No, B is 3 now. So it will come again and we are going to get GCD 3. This time what we have to do? We have to divide 12 by 3. So if you are going to divide 12 by 3, what is the remainder that you are going to get? 0. So finally, if we come inside the loop again, so you will get B is equal to 0. Yes, it is equal to 0. So return A. It means instead of this, return A. So what is the A? A here is 3. So it will come back here. It will return 3. It will come back here 3. And finally what it will do? It will return 3. So this is also one of the way. So this is the logic. So if B is equal to 0, what you have to do? B and A percentile B. So this is one of the approach. Okay. So there are more approaches, and here this is going to take less time, but it is going to you, as we are using the recursion concept. So it is going to take more space. Why? Because first of all, it is going to call the GCD function 12 and 15. Then we call the GCD function 15 and 12. Then we call the GCD function 12 and 3. Then we call the GCD function 3 and 0. So here we got the answer. Then we will put the answer in this, and we will empty the entire stack that we are using. Okay, don't get confused what is stack and everything. Just as of now, chill it. Right. Now let us move to the next question. It will be a bit easier for you if you use your brain properly. So now we have find the HCF. If I ask you how to find LCM, suppose if in input you are given A and B is equal to 6. So in output, what you need to do? You need to return 12, because this is the lowest number which comes in the table of 4 as well as it comes in the table of 6. So generally what we do like this. Okay, we will factorize the number and we will use the maximum power. Okay, so what is the maximum power of 2? It is 2, and maximum power 3, so it is 4 into 3 that we are going to get 12. So this is the way that we used to use in the classrooms, okay, in 4th 5th class, to find the LCM of a number. But now what you have to do, you have to ask the computer to find the LCM. You will say that I will give you input as 4 and 6, in output I need to return 12. So what is the process that you are going to use? You can pause the video for the 1 minute or 2 minutes and you can think for an approach. Okay, I will tell you more examples. Suppose if A is equal to 2, B is equal to 8, in this time what will be the output? Output will be the 8, because 8 is the smallest number that is going to come in the 2 table as well as 8 table. Okay, so this is the approach. So okay, so yeah, you can think and pause the video and you can think. Okay, so I think you must have thought for the solution. So might be this approach come to your mind. What is the approach? Suppose if we have A is equal to 4 and B is equal to 6. So first of all, what we have to do, what we will do, we will find the maximum of both the things. So result will be maximum of 4 and 6. Result will be maximum of 4 and 6. So result is equals to 6. Okay, result will be maximum of A and B. So we got that result is 6 for the above example, right? So what we will do, we will start checking for the number now. If that number is divisible by A and if number is divisible by B, then return the solution. It means if result percentile A equal to 0 and result percentile B equal to 0, then return the solution, then return the result. If it is not true, increase the result by 1. Result will be result plus 1. So this is the concept that should come to your mind. So basically what I have done is, first of all we have got the result value as 6. So it will check 6 percentile 6, 6 percentile 4. What you are going to get here, you are going to get the value as 2. So this condition is not 2. So if condition will fail and we will increase the result by 1. So we will come 7. It will check for 7 is divisible by 4. No, it is not divisible. So we will increase by 8 to 8. It will check 8 percentile 4. Yes, we are going to get 0. But it will also check for B. Now 8 percentile 6, is it 0? No, here we are going to get true. So for AND both the conditions should be true. So this is going to update it to 9. Then this is going to update it for 10. Then this is going to be updated for 11. And when it comes to 12, so 12 percentile 4 will be 0. Yes. 12 percentile 6 will be also 0. Yes. So this time we will return the result. So what is the result? In result our value was 12. So we will get result as 12. So this is the approach that should come to your mind. So again this is going to take a lot of time, because you are not sure when you are going to get a number which is divisible by both. You are checking, started from 6, then you check for 7, then 8, then 9, then 10 and so on, and you kept on checking the numbers. So suppose that number, like there may be possibility that you find the number at very far away. So computer will take a lot of time. So this is the one of the approach that should click to your mind. This is the basic approach, because if it should come to your mind. If it is not coming, then it's also okay. But now let us see the optimized approach. So we have studied one formula in the lower classes, that product of two numbers will be equals to LCM into HCF. Okay, so if you want to find LCM, what you do, just multiply the two number and divide by HCF. We can say HCF is greatest common factor also. Okay, and for the greatest common factor, just we have seen the logic. What is the logic? This one is the logic. Okay, so now the question is very simple. If I ask you LCM of 12 and 15, what you will do? You will multiply 12 and 15. And what is the greatest common factor for 12 and 15? It is 3. So you are going to get output as 60. If I ask you find the LCM of 4 and 6, what you will do? You will multiply the numbers. And what is the greatest common factor in, what is the GCD of 4 and 6. So you are going to say the GCD of 4 and 6 is 2. So it is going to be 12. And yes, 12 is the LCM of 4 and 6. So this is the optimized approach. Okay. In this approach, you haven't gone for each and every number. What you have gone is just find the multiplication of both the numbers, and then you have find the greatest common greatest common divisor here, GCD or HCF. Okay, so you can write the logic very simple. It will be very optimized solution. So one approach that was very difficult, and now the approach that we have got is very simple. So define LCM. Let us write the function name as LCM. So what it will do? It will return A multiplied by B and GCD of A and B. So whenever you will reach to the function, what it will do? It will call the GCD function. So what is the GCD function that we have already written? For GCD function, it means to run this code you need to write two functions, one for LCM and one for GCD. If B equal to 0, what we have done? We have written A. Otherwise, what we have done? We have written GCD of B and A percentile B. So this is the logic that will work if you need to find the LCM of a number. So this is the optimized approach to find the LCM, right? One was the other approach. Now if I ask you the time complexity, you will say that multiplying a number will be done in the constant period of time. So the time taken by GCD will be same as the time taken by LCM. So what is the time complexity here? So time complexity by GCD was log of minimum of A and B. This is the time complexity to find the GCD of a number. It is taking logarithmic time, which is very small. Earlier what you were doing, you were traversing each element and you were saying which element is divisible or not. So it was taking, might be there is the possibility that it may take more than order of n or n square time, but now our solution is done in order of log of some very minimum amount of time. Okay, so this is the one of the approach that we can use to find this. So in this lecture, what we have done, we have solved some of the questions. So what is the first question that we have checked out? Number of factorials. Then we have count the GCD, that is HCF. Then we have gone for the approach of LCM. Okay, now in the description box I will share you the link of the document, okay, that I have written here. You can check out it. If you still have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section. And in the, I think 1 or 2 more videos we are going to have for the logic building. These videos are very important. If you didn't find the solution, watch them twice, thrice. It's very okay. First time it's not possible to get each and every logic by yourself. Okay, so I will give you the homework also in the description box. Please do the homework also, activity. Okay, so thank you.